Okay, so today we're gonna check out Moonless Moon. And the only thing I know about this game is that it's text-based, story-rich, visual novel, and the short description that I have about it is when the night falls, she wanders into another world. Moonless Moon is a text-based adventure game following a girl as she travels through a variety of different worlds. So, yeah, basically that's it. That's all I know. Night brings her to a desert on the moon, a coffee shop inside of a tunnel, an island in the sky, and many more worlds beyond the realm of reason. Yomichi is a normal girl living an average student's life, except for one thing. Sometimes, after sunset, she finds herself transported into a different world. Be it a desert on the moon, a coffee shop inside of a tunnel, or an island in the sky, she enjoys her time in those new places, making friends each time. However, this leaves her with some questions. Do I really have to live in my daytime world? Is that life, the one where I go to school each day, the real one? In this story, she tries to find out more about the world surrounding her and what they mean to her. And our main characters is obviously the Yumichi, the girl who travels from world to world, and the many unique friends she makes in the process. Now, what makes the game unique according to the developers? Moonless Moon feels like a music video that you can play through for an unforgettable art and music. During the riddle parts of the game, you will have to complete the story yourself to go forward. These are fun, intuitive puzzles where you look for keywords and place them in the text. Moonless Moon features several original tracks with animated music videos to go along with them. Dive into this unique world, and it's who's who of the musical talent. Depending on your choices, the story will progress towards different endings. What are the endings? I don't know. I don't know anything about the game. All the reviews are in Chinese. Some of them are recommended, some of them are not. I don't think I found... Oh, never mind. I found two reviews that are in English. I both and played this because I liked the dev's next game, Girls Made Pudding. I expected Yuri and was unexpectedly hit with some truly incredible writings. The emotional scenes made me cry, and the philosophical scenes made me think about the world we live in. Highly recommend if you are in the mood for a short visual novel. The game is hard to review. I honestly don't recommend it. The plot is simple and drags on too long, even though the game is short. The writing is unnecessarily long and tedious, everything is unnecessarily abstract, and the game doesn't really explore its potential. The premise is good, but you visit very few worlds that are simple and poorly developed. Meanwhile, the same guy actually hit the recommend button, so I guess we gotta see for ourselves. Never trust reviews. Well, worst case scenario, it's gonna be a treat for an eye, right? I don't think it's gonna be like fully voiced, right? Out of the shadow of the railway bridge and into the sunset-tinged light she walks. It feels like stepping into a whole new world. The bustle of the people coming and going around the station hits her like a sharp gust of wind. The thick fog of loneliness surrounding her is blown away instantly. The light shines right into Yomichi's eyes. She squints and lets the flow of people carry her forward. The station is always crowded at this time of the day. Lots of people, lots of reasons for being here. People riding on their train home, people who just arrived here, people who just stand there waiting for someone. And there it is. There's Yomichi. Yomichi liked it that way. The endless stream of stimuli flooding her sight and hearing kept her brain too busy to think. When she's surrounded like that, she almost forgets who she is. That's a huge weight off her mind. But she liked being under a bridge or in smaller alleys just as well. On the road, away is all it takes. The crowd feels silenced. If you listened closely, you could still hear them, but it was only a muffled roar from a distant world. You could look at the wind trying to rip off the tattered posters on the walls and think about yourself in peace and solitude. The night has almost arrived at the station. The sun slowly goes off to be replaced by the city lights. Yumichi strolled, waiting for the dark. Now the station isn't close to either her home or her school. The chances of meeting anyone she knows are very, very low. Ideal scenario, I would say. The sun disappears between the buildings, leaving the sky black. Yumichi keeps walking. The things around her lose their shadows and their silhouettes become blurry. In calm, the street lights, helping those things cast shadows again, and then she loses track of where she is. We are on the moon! Before she knows it, she's walking in the desert. The moon's expanse of white sand and rocks is spread in all directions. The sky above is lit by endless faint stars, but there is no moon to join them. Far away, towards the horizon, a blur of light wavers like a mirage. You could think it was a reflection on a distant sea, but she knows it's a large moon city. She has never been there, and she couldn't even guess how many days it would take to walk all the way to it. A white desert and a black sky. Those are the only two colors she can see. She feels she could walk for hours with no addition to the palette. And yet, she keeps going, threading along as if on a familiar path. Yeah, that's weird, like she doesn't seem to be spooked. Maybe she already experienced it before, although I don't think so. We don't know much about her. She realizes something. She's not the only one through this silent world where cannot flow. I would say she's not the only one where the time cannot flow. The desert spreads with no end in sight, a world of sand and rocks, but there in the distance like a mirage lies a moon city. Countless stars hang from the sky, but the constellations they draw are weird and unfamiliar. Where she may be, she knows that she is far away from home. Okay, so I need to use some. That's weird because for me none of those make sense. Here and there the white sand is spotted by rocks of the same color. She tries to pick one up, but it immediately crumbles into dust. Did all of this sand used to be solid stone once? It certainly doesn't feel that way. This place feels too quiet for time to actually move forward. Okay, we checked rocks. Keyword stars. Yumichi squints at the buildings, wondering if people live there, but the city is too far for the dark silhouettes of people to stain the light from the windows. Even if there were people, walking all the way to them would take days. I would say like the last one will be walking. Okay, so I guess this is the type of the riddles that we're gonna have. That's reassuring, at least I will know I have less odds to fail them, right? Could be worse, could be worse. Eventually, she hears footsteps other than her own. Oh, Yumichi, a new outfit already. Oh, so that person knows me. Turn around and there she is. Just both as yesterday, aren't they cute? Well, they are unique. She utters lazily with her hazy eyes pointed at the print of Yomichi's shirt, but Yomichi knows that she's more interested than she shows to be. You know, I've been wondering, you live in that city over there, right, Madobe? That I do. Isn't that far? I guess you could say it is. How do you come all the way here then? Madobe gazes at the mirage-like city she just said she lives in. Did you know? She asks with a sudden impertinent smile on her face. Know what? That skipping along makes you faster, almost as fast as light. I didn't know that. Yamichi tries skipping, but each step still brings her one step forward. Oh, I actually have made it to the city, it seems. And that was ancient patterns. So we have two characters so far. Gonna get focused right to the oblivion. It's still worth it. Because so far the visuals were really nice. Oh. I wonder if we're gonna have a lot of like moments like this with like the the AM Vita vibe, But I think we won't. You know why? Because that was the opening sequence, obviously. Off we go to the next story then. Once school is over, Yomichi chooses her shirt for the day, puts it on, and leaves the house. You can still see the sun in the sky. Her destination is a park not far from her home. It's a small park in a residential area with a little to boast other than a rusty slide and a dirty bench. A sad place she's never seen children play in. She sits on the slide ladder and pulls out her phone. It's not worth it to risk the bench, considering how it's almost wet. Almost always wet. Friends from her class are talking about next week's test in a group chat. They ask her if she remembers what was supposed to be in the test, to which she replies with a simple no. What little sky is left uncovered by the old houses around the park starts turning red. Eventually, night comes. The shadows inside the park merge with the darkness outside. As the wind seems to take away the last ray of light still hitting the city. Now we're in a tunnel. Wait, is it only going to be like 3 locations? That's going to be pretty, like, you know, quick. Yomichi finds herself standing inside a dark tunnel. In dark in front of her, dark behind her, just dark all around. Once her eyes get used to the darkness, she notices that there is a very faint light seeping in through the top of the tunnel. It's a green light, not quite sunlight, not quite fluorescent lamplight. She stretches and starts walking through the tunnel she already knows so well. When night falls, she finds herself in a new world. She doesn't even remember when this all started, but she's pretty sure it didn't used to happen when she was a little girl. It probably was around the same time she entered middle school. In any case, she's alone at night. She'll suddenly get transported to some unusual place. Is it just her mind traveling? Is her body also coming along for the ride? She has no idea. At first she thought that they were just weird dreams, then she started worrying she was going insane, but eventually she got used to it. She can't predict where she will be transported or when, but she doesn't get surprised anymore when it happens. Okay, that explains a lot. She has made friends through these travels, and now she can even walk through an eerily lit tunnel without a care. There are openings in the concrete walls. They're large enough for someone to walk through. Voices come out of them, shouts, whispers. After going past a few of these openings, she finally finds the one she was looking for, marked by an unassuming sign hanging on top of it. She crouches and walks inside. "Good evening," she says. "Oh, hello there." The apron-wearing young man behind the counter smiles at her. There aren't any other customers tonight. Shortly after she sits in front of the counter, the bartender serves her a cup of coffee. Along with the steaming cup, he hands her a shallow glass container. It kind of looks like an ashtray, but it isn't one. Yomichi is too young to smoke anyway. She slides the container to right below her face and looks into it. It's empty and polished to a mirror sheen. She grabs the cup and takes a sip. Yomichi never particularly liked coffee. She got used to the aroma because her parents drank it every morning, but no matter how many times she tried it, she just couldn't enjoy that bitter taste. The coffee they served here, however, was the exception. The flavor was rich and complex, and you didn't need any sugar or milk to mask the bitterness. One time, she even asked the bartender if he did anything out of the ordinary to make it taste like that. When he replied nothing special, she knew that it was a humble way to tell her that he put in a lot of effort in choosing the beans and extracting the coffee, while also implying that there was no secret ingredient. The coffee is as bitter and deep in flavor as usual. After one sip, she puts the cup back on the counter. She enjoys the aftertaste. She notices that the tears have started streaming down her cheeks. She wasn't sad nor happy enough to justify tears. The coffee's flavor was comforting, yes, but that was no reason for crying. And yet, every time she tasted the coffee here, she felt so warm inside that she ended up crying. She stares blankly in front of her, waiting for the tears to subside. After traversing her full whole face, the tears drop down and into the glass container. That was the currency here in this world. The bartender gives you a coffee and you pay him in tears. She has seen other customers here before and they all did the same thing. They would fill the glass container with tears even when they were in the middle of a pleasant conversation. Once they were done, they would give the container back to the bartender. That happened in all of the shops inside this tunnel world. There was no money except for tears. She thinks that it's nothing about the coffee making her cry. It's just the way this world works. In her day world, you cry when you feel moved. Here, you cry when somebody gives you something. She feels that the bizarre rules of any world she visits also apply to her for as long as she stays there. The same was true of the moon world where she met Madoba. She could breathe just fine despite having no air to breathe. Moving from a world to the next changes a lot of things. But the thing is, you get used to pretty much anything eventually. At first, crying in front of people felt extremely embarrassing, but now she doesn't mind it much because in this world it isn't much. She turns her teary eyes upward and sees the bartender cleaning a cup. Now, she never speaks of her world while she's in this shop, but the first time she found herself here, she had started talking about it. The bartender wasn't in the least bit surprised, but he also looked like he could not care less. He treated every customer the same, regardless of who they were and where they came from. That was his policy. That made her feel comfortable, which is why she often came back and started following that rule herself. Mind if I talk to you, Hoshi? She has forgotten how she came to know this, but the bartender's name is Hoshi. Of course, nobody even bothers asking that, you know? Is it weird? I'm sorry, I'm not used to this kind of place. Oh, don't worry, I'm not used to it either. He turns toward her with a look of genuine confusion on his face. How long have you been doing this? About half a year. Really? But the first time I came here was about half a year back. I would probably just started then. That's surprising. There were a lot of people who looked like regulars at that time. They're just people who like looking like regulars. I even get first-time customers asking for the usual. And what do you serve them then? I just guess. And they don't complain? Oh, they don't. They have no idea what they want either. By the way, do you mind if I have something to drink too? Sure, go ahead. Hoshi crouches down and opens a cabinet below the counter. What were you doing before opening this place? Good question. What I was doing? Music, I think. I probably made a living out of music. So you were a musician? You could say that. That's so cool. It isn't really. I only lasted a year or so. Still cool. So you did something else before that? Before that, I drifted around for a couple of years. He stands back up and places a bottle of orange liquid on the table. It looks like a liquor at a first glance, but it's actually just orange juice. Most people around here do it. We work for a few years and then use that money to travel for a few years. Mostly we're trying to get to the end of the tunnel, and when we're out of money, we find a new job nearby. Rinse and repeat. Yamichi looks at the reflection of her face on the bottle. I just opened up a shop here because I found this place empty. The bottles and such were all here to begin with, too. So it was already a coffee shop before you came here? Yes, everything here belonged to someone else. The glasses, this apron, everything. Is there anything you brought here then? My clothes, I guess. I don't bring anything with me when I travel. Isn't it scary though? Hoshi stares at Yomichi. How so? I mean, you have no idea where you will end up tomorrow. Indeed. Well, do you? I don't. Just thinking about what Hoshi has just said makes Yomichi feel uneasy in a way she can't quite put into words. The first thing she could come up with was talking about her dreams for the future. I guess I'll just find a job and keep working there forever. In the meantime, I would get married, then get old, normal stuff. Isn't that why everyone worries so much about the future? If everyone lived as freely as you do, there would be no point in worrying at all. You have a point. I can't say I ever worry about it. All I can do is deal with the present. He pours himself some juice. That doesn't mean it's not a good choice for you. Finding a single place to work and sticking to it could work. I would get bored really fast though. You really are the carefree type. Doesn't that make everything easier? Yomichi isn't so sure about that. She isn't even sure that there is a correct answer to that question. While Hoshi's lifestyle sounds easy, she couldn't help but feel worried about having no clear path in her life. In her case, that sense of uneasiness would be stronger than the enjoyment she could get out of it. But maybe a few years from now on, she will see this with different eyes. At least all the people around these parts are like this. They just can't stay put in a place and grow roots. We just go with the flow, like water. It's nice to not have to think about where you'll end up next. Yamichi's starting to get convinced about the merits of that lifestyle. So you'll move out of here eventually? I sure will. When I get bored of it, or when I have enough money set aside. Whichever comes first. That's sad. Why? I'm sure this place will get a new bartender in no time once I'm gone. The look of genuine confusion on his face makes Yomichi realize that for the people of this world, this is the normal way to think about things. So, what's at the end of the tunnel? No idea, but I've never seen anyone come back after getting to the end, so I'm sure there's something. Which way is the end? To the right as you leave the shop. Hoshi empties the cup of orange juice in one go before making an utterly terrified face. This is no good. Shouldn't be this sour. Yomichi laughs. Terrified. He got terrified of the sourness. As the slowly rises out of the cup, she hears the opening behind her. So we need the door, and then we need to find another more word. It's the only two of them in the shop. The only sound is the faintly playing record. She can't even hear any voice coming from the neighbors. She can see the steam coming out of the coffee, so that would be steam. I've never been to the shop near this one. What is it? I wonder, I've never been there myself. Hoshi says while staring at the wall. It could be empty or maybe just an apartment. There are also people just living here. Oh yes, sometimes we need a break. I'm not open every day either. If they don't have a sign on the door, I want to go back. I made that myself. No. I want the door. I wonder who came in. As the steam slowly rises out of the cup, she hears the door opening behind her. The shop's door opens and two customers walk in. Seeing this, Hoshi gets back to working. All the other customers do just as Yomichi. They drink their coffee, they pay with their tears, and they don't really talk about themselves. She doesn't know whether they are travelers from this world like Hoshi, or people who stumbled in here from the other world, like her. What she does know is that nobody here would care either way. She's sneaking a glance at the customers as they order their drinks in between chatting. Suddenly, her phone buzzes in her pocket. Oh, she still has a reception. She hasn't even finished her coffee yet. She's disappointed. She looks at the screen and sees a text from her parents. What time are you coming home today? The usual short question. She turns off the screen with a sigh. I wonder how she just go back, if she can even go back whenever she wants. When she looks up, she sees Hoshi pouring a fresh cup of coffee and his hands are perfectly still. Actually, everything is perfectly still. Even the faces of the other customers and the liquid dropping from the coffee siphon. It's like being inside a painting. The shop she felt so comfortable in now gives her that kind of anxiety you get when meeting with a complete stranger. Then everything starts moving again, and instantly later, it all silently crumbles. It's like a sand castle being destroyed or like fog being blown away. Everything around her, as if it was made from something lighter than sand but heavier than fog, gets blown away by a wind that goes to nowhere in particular. It all collapses, melts together, and it disperses so thin that you can't see it anymore. When she tries to touch this still half-full cup of coffee in front of her, it disappears as if she tried to grab a puff of smoke. And we're back to the park. She is sitting by herself on the bench in the park she was in before. A lone streetlight coldly shines down on her. Her pants are wet because of the bench. It's uncomfortable. So that was our second world that we've been through. Keywords. So all of them are actually saved, but for some reason coffee is highlighted. I wonder why. I really do. And off to the next story. Yamichi loves drinking coffee in the tunnel shop. She likes the eeriness of the tunnel, she likes how she would end up crying even without any strong emotion, and she likes the way the bartender talks. Now we're back to the moon. She likes the moon world where Madobe lives just as much. How do you skip? What? You can't skip? It's not like I can't. Yomichi skips 3 times and overtakes Madobe. See, I can do it, but it's just a normal skipping. What's that thing about being faster than light? See, other people skip is kind of funny. Huh? What she likes the most is strolling through that empty landscape while making small talk. When she's doing that, she feels more at home than when she's in her actual living room or when she's talking with her classmates at school. She rarely speaks to Madobe about her life in the day world, but she feels like the kind of a person that you could talk about anything with. Yes, she can talk about what she really wants to with Madobe. Skipping is like, do you ever watch videos on your phone? Yeah, of course. And you can skip ads and such, right? Yeah. It's the same thing. You instantly move forward in time by skipping. Wait, that's also skipping, but is that what you meant? It is. Madoba laughs so hard that she squints. She looks like she's having so much fun that Yomichi can't help but laugh as well. She knows that Madoba makes no sense most of the time. Maybe she's doing it on purpose. Maybe it is a rule of this world, just like the weird rules in the tunnel world, and Yomichi as a newcomer doesn't get it yet. What even is this world? Why is she here? Yomichi has no clue. Walking around in here makes her feel at ease, but with a faint melancholy aftertaste. These worlds she stumbles into disappear at the drop of a hat. All it takes is her phone ringing, or even just thinking too hard about the day world, and it all goes away like fog in the wind. She can come back eventually, but she really has no say in the matter. Maybe tomorrow, when the sun sets, she won't actually get transported anywhere. Lately, she wonders whether it's okay for her to be in these places at all. Thinking that the fun she has chatting with Madobe could suddenly end forever is as sad as it is scary. Moreover, the thought that she only feels at home in these weird, ephemeral places is just as scary. Would she be fine if she lost the ability to visit them? Probably not. These worlds are already something that she cannot live without. There is another thought that she tries to shove away from her mind. Maybe she is the one who created these worlds. Children take in the stories of books and TV shows and start creating things in their imagination. Worlds where they are rescued by charming princes, or where they live a laid-back rural life in the forest. Could it be that she walked into a figment of her imagination? That would mean that no part of what she sees now is real. She would just be creating pleasant delusions to escape reality. Maybe one day she will have to forget about these worlds. Maybe she'll find somewhere in the day world where she feels at home and can live a normal life just like everyone else. But that day could very well be today. Still, she can't say goodbye to Madoba. She keeps half listening to her weird, possibly fake tales with a smile on her face. Oh, Yomichi, welcome! When she walks into a small chimney-crowned hut, Yomichi is greeted by a lady who is busy making soup. The lady covers the soup pot with a lid and opens a cabinet nearby. The shelves are full of all kinds of things, seemingly in layers, with the ones at the bottom looking as old as the shelves themselves and getting more and more newer looking the closer to the top they get. The lady gets a small box from near the top of the cabinet and places it on a table in the center of the hut. There are a fireplace, a cabinet, and a table. There is also a small bed and a window that you can see the sky through, and that is all the furnishing of this tiny brick hut. Wait, no bed? Yomichi looks at the box. It is a small wooden box with a glass cover, and inside of it there is a single butterfly with beautiful green wings. The butterfly does not move, it is a replica. Yomichi takes the box in her hands and gazes at how the light reflects off of the butterfly wings. Once satisfied, she puts it back on the table and sits on one of the two chairs here. "Wanna eat something since you're here?" says the lady after going back to the pot. "Thanks, just a bit though," she replies. The lady, with a childish laugh, takes two shallow bowls of the cabinet. Childish, the word feels somehow rude. With her shoulder-length wavy hair and her simple dress, the lady looks just as young as Yomichi. But her calm and subtly refined demeanor makes Yomichi think that she is, in fact, a lady, quite a few years older than her. "Can I ask you something, Ito?" "Of course," she softly replies. Her hair hides her face, but Yomichi can guess that she's smiling. Everyone, including Yomichi, calls this lady Ita, but as it turns out, this is not her real name. She doesn't even have a real name. She doesn't need one. That is what she told Yomichi when the two first met. Why would someone living alone in a small hut need a name for? It's not like there's anyone calling for her, except, of course, for occasional guests like Yomichi who resorted to calling her Ito. Yomichi has to wonder what it feels like living without anyone ever calling your name. Why do you have chairs and dishes in pairs even though you live alone? Ito hands a bowl of soup to Yomichi and then sits down on the other side of the table. The soup glistens as if it were a liquid gold. Because I get some guests sometimes, like you, now. She laughs once again, then extends of her elegant and refined demeanor ended when she opened her mouth. Somehow, to Yomichi, the way she spoke felt like the purest, most unadulterated way to speak. It had the purity of someone who naturally picked up on words by living alone in a hut. Oh, but come to think of it, it is because I used to live with my mom here. You have a mom? Of course, I didn't grow in a cabbage field. No, I mean, so what about your dad? Ita shakes her head. That I don't have. Did he pass away? No, I just never had one. It's just mothers who gives birth to us. By themselves, naturally. I know it sounds weird, but that's how it is. Wow. Yomichi assumes that this is just another way in which this world rules are different from her own. She knows that there are all kinds of worlds, and Ito is probably the only inhabitant of this one. All the guests that come to visit her do so from other worlds. This is actually how Yomichi first learned that there are other people able to travel between the worlds. Not that she's ever run into one. Yomichi brings a spoonful of soup to her mouth. The gold liquid tastes as precious as it looks. The large pieces of carrot and potato are cooked to perfection and melt in her mouth. So we are not alone. Are all of those veggies from your field back there? Oh yes, I grew them, all of them by myself. That's impressive. I only grow what I need to eat. I also used some ingredients that people brought me for the bouillon though. I only have sheep around here. People as in guests? Yes, sometimes they bring me stuff, like that butterfly. Ita points at the small wooden box with her gaze. This isn't the first time someone had given Yomichi a replica like this. Can I ask about that? Go ahead, as long as there are questions I know the answer to. Who brought you this and why? Did they ask you to give it to me? As for who, I can't quite remember. It wasn't even that far back, but I just forgot. Her usual smile makes it difficult to tell whether she's avoiding the question or she genuinely doesn't know. And I was told to give this, yes, but probably not to you specifically. If I recall correctly, I was told to give this to the next person to visit me. After swallowing the soup, Yomichi goes back to staring at the butterfly's wings. Sometimes people from other worlds give her insect replicas. Nobody ever told her the reason behind it or why they are insect replicas specifically. And they tell her it to bring them back with her. They aren't even gifts per se, she's just keeping them for someone else apparently. She had no clue where those replicas came from and where they were supposed to go, but she still went ahead and took them. Maybe this is yet another weird rule from another world. Still, it's a very small price to pay for this good of a soup. Looking at the reflected into the soup, Yomichi takes the in her mind. The sunlight coming through the window. The glass panes on the window are perfectly clean, but the scene behind them looks distorted. Glass is a liquid, it just kind of distorts over time, Ita explains. For real? Who knows, but I heard someone say it was. And the flames roaring in the fireplace enshroud the hut in the gentle light. So we have flames too. The corners of the hut are always felt in the shadow, but here even that feels cozy. The furniture is only comprised of the bare minimum. A table, a cabinet, a fireplace. A crackling sound comes from the fireplace. Do you cut the firewood yourself? Rarely. Some guests just bring it to me and it's usually already the right size. Oh, so it's not from here. Of course, there are no trees here. If you get trees in the field behind your house, could you do without people bringing wood to you? I wonder. I feel that even if I planted trees there, they wouldn't grow. There have never been trees there after all. Yomichi wanders into the wooden spoon in Ito's hand. Was also brought here from another world. Okay, so we got the spoon. Looking at the flames reflected into the zupu, Yomichi takes the spoon in her hand. Wait. So it's not this. So it's probably ceiling. Yes. Looking at the ceiling reflected into the soup, Yomichi takes the spoon in her hand. Followed by Ito's warm gaze, Yomichi takes another spoonful of soup. Ito? Yes? You know that there are worlds other than this, right? Obviously yes, I'm the only person living in this one, she replies. The words themselves were blunt, but her voice was gentle and her smile kind. You also came from another world, didn't you? Yomichi nods lightly. Don't you ever want to go somewhere, see other worlds? Not really, she immediately replies. Why not? Well, why would I? Why do you think I would want to do that? Because in other places there are other things? Oh, I bet there are, but I don't really feel like I want to go and see them. Yomichi worries she might have unintentionally been rude to her, but the gentleness in Ito's voice just makes her too comfortable. What if those other things were better than what you have here? Yomichi asks her question without much confidence. After all, she's not sure she's ever seen any place better than this one. There probably isn't one. She wishes there were and hopes that she'll be able to find it in one of the many worlds that she hasn't been to yet. Sometimes people will ask me that, Ito replies with a gentle, somewhat aloof voice. But I just can't imagine a place more wonderful than this. What does that even mean? A larger place? A place with more stuff in it? No matter what I imagine, what I have here seems better. I like how cozy it is, and I have all I need. Of course, maybe I just say this because I don't know what is actually outside. Yomichi doesn't know how to reply to that. One time, I said the very same thing to someone. They replied that they feel for me. Poor little thing, they said. I don't get it. I'm not sure why anyone would feel for me. Do you think I'm wrong, Yomichi? Me? Well... Oh, I'm not being sarcastic. I genuinely wanted to know. Should I really try to go somewhere? Would I find something better than what I have now? And mind you, I really can't imagine what better even means. She smiles at Yomichi, who can see her own reflection in Ito's eyes. They're bright and clear. Staring into them almost makes Yomichi feel inadequate. I'm sorry, I don't know. Yomichi looks down and finishes her soup. Ito, looking content, puts an elbow on the table and rests her chin on her hand. Her whole world is this hut, the field behind it, and the small garden all around. It is complete in itself. She doesn't know about anything else and doesn't wish for anything else. If she traveled and found new, wonderful things that she could start wishing for, would that make her happier? Yomichi thinks to herself while staring into the empty bowl. It is staring out of her one little window. I wonder if I should be more ambitious. Outside the window, the peaceful panorama seems to go on and on forever. Was that an island in the sky? Or did we still not get to see it? After parting with Ito and leaving the hut, Yomichi stands outside unsure of what to do. She is in the middle of a lush green prairie. Ito's small brick hut is like an island in an ocean of grass. Except for the small field behind the hut and the tiny stream flowing beside it, there is nothing but grass. No towns, no mountains, just grass. The breeze feels nice and the sky looks as wide as it could ever be, but the prairie and the stream don't actually go on forever. This is what has left Yomichi so confused. Not too far from the hut, both just stop abruptly. This actually was an island in the sky. Okay, we just got our questions answered. The small patch of ground with an even smaller hut in the middle of it is the extent of Ito's world. Yomichi can't go back. There is no back to go to. She walks away from the hut and lies down on the grass. To say the truth, Yomichi knows how to go back. She could just text a classmate on her phone or think about the homework she has to turn in tomorrow. That would send her straight back to her own world. But she wants to stay here for a little longer. She wants a little more of that sunlight coming in through the sparse clouds, of the fresh smell of the grass, of that not quite a wind but not quite a breeze. She loves this world. The sunlight has never felt so pleasant in the day world. She has never laid down on the grass there. She loves the moon, the tunnel, the island and the sky way more than the day world. She isn't that uncomfortable in the day world. She has kind friends and teachers at school. Her parents, as far as she can tell, are always putting her first. The way they're always asking when she's coming home is a bit annoying, but she understands that they do it because they love her. It's an average, happy environment to live in. But nowhere in that world can she find a place as comfortable as this deserted prairie. Nor she can find anyone who she can talk to as freely as she can with Madobe. To her, this very fact feels wrong. She's scared that one day she will wake up from this dream and will have to go on living bound to just one world. That is the world she was born in. She has no choice but to live in that one. I shouldn't be wasting time like this, she tried to persuade herself. Is she growing up? She feels the world around her growing distant. She feels like she doesn't belong. She feels sad about laying down here. She tries to shake off those feelings, but she can't. Suddenly everything crumbles into dust and fog. The whole world turns into sand and disappears. But she feels that she's the one crumbling. After all, the only thing that is disappearing is what her, Yomichi, sees. After everything has completely disappeared, she finds herself staring at the shining stars in the sky. She's laying down on the rooftop of her apartment. The pleasant smell and soft texture of the grass are nowhere to be found. The hot concrete floor hurts her back. The only thing remaining of that world is the butterfly replica in her hand. Is that her room? The next day, when Yomichi wakes up in her room, she can no longer find the butterfly replica. The empty box is still on her desk where she put it last night. The lid is still closed and intact, but the butterfly somehow isn't there. It's as if during the night it came alive and magically escaped through the glass. This happens every time she brings back an insect replica from another world. The insect just disappears while she's not looking. She once tried to apologize for this to the person who given it to her, but she was met with laughter, so that was probably intended. Still, she can't understand what this is all about or where the butterfly has gone off to. She puts the empty box away into the drawer. She has a few of them already in there. She could throw them away, seeing how the important part is the replica inside, but she stores them and treasures them. After all, this is the only thing she can bring back from the world she visits. Now they are proof of her connection to those places. One day, they will be a memento. There's no school today, so Yomichi wears the shirt that she just got yesterday and goes out. She's riding the train to her usual station, a large station full of people. It is even the largest station in the area, and it's a bit far from both her house and her school. She has no real reason to go there. The people going around the town all have reasons, all have goals, getting to work, shopping, having a secret meeting with someone. If she happens to sit next to one of them, there's nothing but a coincidence. She doesn't talk to them, she doesn't look them in the eye, and she overall pretends that they don't exist. This is nothing like students bullying a classmate by pretending he doesn't exist. When you're crossing the street and someone is approaching from the opposite direction, you step aside in order to avoid them so not to hurt each other. That is what it is. She avoided everyone's gaze like an animal, trying to convey that it isn't trying to threaten anybody. If anything, that is a way of connecting with people in itself. Kindness in avoidance, even. At the same time, no matter how many people she has around her, she always feels alone. Every single individual sharing this space with her is actually living in their own little world. She gets out of the station and into a smaller street where the buildings cut out some of the sunlight and most of the noise. Around here are fancy cafes, deserted thrift shops, stores dealing with unguessable goods, and multi-store buildings. She's never come here before. Despite all the walking she has done around the city, there still are dozens of streets which are completely new to her. She keeps walking under the buildings, shade while peeking into the windows of the many intriguing stores. She sees someone walk around the corner. She could only catch a simple glimpse of this person. But that glimpse was enough to surprise her. Was that Hoshi? That person looked like Madobe. Yomichi stops walking. She's feeling something familiar, like when a world crumbles into dust before her eyes. She feels as if she's floating in mid-air. The world around her suddenly stops feeling real, but the day world doesn't crumble and disappear. The colors that seemed to fade come back as soon as she blinks. She considers running after that person, but she doesn't. I swear to God, Yomichi. Madobe could never be in this world. It must be someone else who just happens to look like her. Maybe this person doesn't even look like Madobe all that much, but Yomichi felt she does because of how much she wants to see her. She sighs and drops her gaze to the floor. She feels her throat clenching. This feeling of pathetic sadness brings her on the verge of tears. She needs that world so much, so that she hallucinates it and its inhabitants even in the broad daylight. Walking on that street seems to flip everything on its head. The real world now feels like an illusion, a dream, a distant mirage. I'm not fine, she thinks to herself. She's addicted to Madobe and all those other worlds. Those dreamlike worlds are starting to take over her reality. With no little effort, she keeps herself from just dropping down on the floor. After a while, she starts walking again. As she passes by, she gives a quick glance to the alley that Madobe lookalike walked in earlier. It was a dark, damp alley with nobody in it. I wonder why I'm here. Yomichi asks nobody in particular. She often finds herself asking that question whenever she's walking through the vast expanse of the moon desert. Nothing but sand all the way to the horizon. The stars in the dark canopy above have nothing to lit. It feels like being the only person in the whole universe. But if Yomichi is on the moon, that means that there is a certain someone nearby too. Going through your philosophical phase? Madoba asked nonchalantly. Maybe I am. Whenever she comes here, Yomichi always runs into Madoba. She isn't trying to, after all. She still doesn't know how to get to that faraway city, and they aren't arranging it beforehand. But every single time it just happens, seeing her face is what makes this moon world feel complete. It's a difficult age to be at. Did you go through that phase too? Oh, I sure did. I would be sighing my heart out even in deep dark nights like this one. Now, as an adult, Yomichi says, unsure whether the dark sky above her is indeed a nightly one. Do you ever think that was silly of you? Sometimes. I think back to it and start laughing. Madoba replies while walking with long, wide steps. But you know, that's fine. This phase where you sigh night after night is not as long as you think, so who cares? Enjoying being a budding lady? Not sure enjoy is the right word. Spoken like a budding lady indeed. Oh, shut up. Yomichi is shocked by how she can be so openly blunt. She and Madoba don't even know each other that much, nor do they even have an idea of what the other does except for those long walks together. I don't have any idea what you're agonizing over so much. Madoba keeps looking straight in front of her. It's not like we're laughing our hearts out because we've solved all of our problems. Sometimes you're too busy, sometimes you just can't do enough. But still, here we are. So I'm not trying to preach, mind you, she continues, but hey, things be what they is, you know? Yomichi does know, in fact, now. Yomichi does not, in fact, know. Have you actually been worried by anything lately? She asks. Oh, that sure is blunt. Sorry. Nah, I like your youthfully honestly. Worries? I'm up to my neck in those. Madoba raises as a hand as if to start counting, but it takes her a good while before raising a single finger. For example, see, my favorite coffee shops just changed to some new beans. That's underwhelming. Yomichi wonders in the coffee shops on the moon are anything like the ones she knows. All she has seen here is desert. By the way, why do you come out here in this desert? What? Here? Just to walk? So far away? Well, yeah. Madoba sees Yomichi's eyebrow rising and starts laughing. Oh, I get it. It's nothing weird, really. It's like going for a drive or going to see the city by night. Same thing. Same thing, this desert. Girls who treasures their alone time love it. Oh. This explanation isn't very convincing, but if Madoba says it's popular with moon people, Yomichi has no choice but to believe her. Even at school, the games and books popular with the boys made no sense to Yomichi. She tells herself that this is more of a less than the same thing. The two keep walking together with just enough distance between themselves that they couldn't touch each other's outstretched hand but barely. As she looks at Madoba, Yomichi remembers how the far away past the desert, there's a city. Yomichi can see its light, but she cannot hear a single noise coming from it. Is the city as silent as here? Oh, not at all. It's also noisy. Noisy enough that I come all the way here to take my walks. Is that because there's so many people in there? Well, mostly in its construction sounds. The sound of the city getting bigger, not so soothing, is it? Silent. Do you have any keywords? Yomichi remembers there's construction going on in the alley behind her house as well. Not soothing at all. Could be because it's difficult that Madaba actually lives there. You live in that city, right? What's your job? That's a secret. You can't tell me. I mean, it's more than that it would be hard to explain. It's probably a job you don't know. Hearing this, Madaba's back suddenly feels like it's gotten far, far out of reach. As she looks at Madaba's back, Yamichi remembers how the alley looked. Madaba's back reminds Yamichi of the person she saw earlier in the day world. That can't be her. Madaba lives on the moon and knows nothing about the day world. She could never be in that city. But the butterfly replica did make it all the way into her world. Maybe, just maybe, she could bring Madaba back with her as well. Yamichi closes the distance between the two and grabs Madaba by hand. Is she gonna text someone? She explains that she wants to try something and Madaba immediately agrees. So what should I do? Her eagerness is unexpected as it is comforting. Even if she's actually made it to another world, to her that world would probably only count as a fun little trip. Instead of explaining to Madaba what she is trying to do, she starts thinking of how to actually do it. If anything, she's the one who would like an explanation. Assuming Madaba could come with her, what then? Yamichi asks herself this question before replying to Madaba, but she still doesn't know. What then? Probably nothing. If she walked around the world day with Madaba, it would probably all start feeling like a dream, just like these worlds feel during her normal day to life. Nevertheless, she wants to try. I'm not sure what I'm trying to do myself, she lets slip as she tries to answer Madaba. Madaba breaks in genuinely heartfelt laughter. Of course you don't. You're a budding lady after all. These words make Yamichi realize that she's not the only one to have ever suffered this indescribable feeling that is enough to make the weight feel lighter. I guess you're right. Grateful for Madaba, Yamichi decides what she'll try. Anything she can come up with. Maybe that will help her understand her own feelings better, and it's not like there's anything better to do in this huge desert. But deep down she knows that there is another reason why she's trying. She wants an excuse to give up and let go. For the next few days after that, Yamichi tried everything she could think of. She tried doing all kinds of things in that short time between the moon world starting to crumble away and its disappearing completely. Holding Madaba's hands, holding onto one of the empty insect replica boxes together, even calling a friend from the day world and giving the phone to Madaba. Day after day, she tried everything from things that sounded plausible to the silliest ones. But Madaba just couldn't come back with her. When the moon world disappeared, Yamichi was always alone. Seeing herself on an empty street without Madaba by her side always filled Yamichi with too much sadness for her to deal with. It felt like a happy, pleasant dream, abruptly ending and showing her back into reality. And she had to experience this over and over. Now, Yamichi's all out of ideas for new things to try. She finds Madaba laying down in the desert. Her long hair is full of sand. Normally that would have you worried, but Yamichi just sits down next to her. She can see the city's blinking lights far away in the distance. Are there other cities on the moon, other than that one? She asks. Nope, that's the only one. Is it big? Yeah, well, maybe not. I don't know how big the cities you live in is, so I'm not sure how I would compare. In my world, it's just city after city. And there's no desert? I guess there is somewhere. Well, people haven't been living here for that long. The city will get bigger eventually. Maybe there'll be no desert left after a while. Really? Weren't you born here then? I was, but my grandma wasn't. Did she come here with like a rocket ship from another planet? I'm not sure. People probably came here from all sorts of places because they thought it was nice. And when enough people came, they founded a city. I wasn't there though, so I'm hazy on the details. Huh? Yamichi also lies down. The sound is soft enough to be surprisingly painless. It does kind of get into her clothes, but she has other things on her mind right now. You must have really liked this place to move all the way here. I wonder why. I mean, it's just a bunch of sand. Maybe they liked how quiet it is. Apart from their own, there was no voice to be heard. There wasn't even the sound of the wind blowing. I take it you don't like it here? I do. I love quiet places. That explains why you come so often. It's not like I come because I want to. I can't choose where I go. Yeah, makes sense, Madaba says before closing her eyes. But I bet you get to come here because you like it. I wonder, that sounds reasonable. Some of the worlds she's visited before felt uncomfortable, but she never stumbled upon those twice. Yomichi closes her eyes as well. There isn't much of a difference between the endless black skies and the black of her eyelids. And then silent tears starts falling out of those very eyes. She loves this world. Being here feels nice. She wishes she could stay here forever, but it isn't her world. She has to go back and live in the day world. She knows it's true, and on some level she also knows it's the right thing for her. She can faintly hear the sound of Madaba breathing. She decides that this time will be the last. She came here tonight to say goodbye. But there's no reason to say goodbye in this quiet world. She could just disappear and never see Madaba again. Eventually, she could forget her. She could forget it as world. She could forget all those other worlds she's seen, and then she would be able to grow up. Even if she ended up recalling them every once in a while, they would just be distant memories of a childhood dream. Slightly embarrassing, slightly pleasant. She waits without a word. It's even quieter than she expected. It's not as painful or sad as she prepared herself for. A single tear, that is all. Silence of the moon's surface and Madaba breathing give way to the city's chaotic noise. People talking, cars running, ads shouting. Everything gets fused together so much that she can't make out any individual sound. It was a huge jump from that silence to this noise, but she likes it as well. It makes her feel like she's back home after a long journey. She opens her eyes and she's in the middle of the city, under the night sky. I wonder if we'll get to say goodbye to like Hoshi and Ito as well. Or maybe not. But that does look like Madobe. The graphics kinda remind me anime from like 90s. The same vibe. I thought it's gonna be like the ending. Like the ending sequence, but I guess not. I guess we still need to visit the places that we liked. She looks at the night sky through her window. It's silent and empty, but in a different way than the desert on the moon. Yomichi has spent the last few evenings in silent bedroom. As long as she stays by herself, locked up in her room, she won't be transported to any other world. She doesn't know why, but she learned this through experience. She's so bored that she started going to bed earlier. She even goes out to play with her classmates after school more often now. Walking around town and going to karaoke with them is fun in its own right. Whenever she keeps herself connected to the day world, spending time with her classmates, running errands for her parents, and so on, she cannot go to the other worlds. She's also learned this through experience. Her time spent in the day world city has grown, and her nights are now for sleeping. Today too, she's gone to bed early. It's only been a few days since she decided she would not leave this world anymore, but her memories of the other worlds are already starting to become fainter. She can't remember how it felt to cry while drinking coffee in the tunnel. That memory keeps getting farther and farther away, like a dream after one wakes up. It feels sad, it feels lonely, but it beats growing melancholy every single night. Surely one day her memories of this will be gone, taking the sadness with them. She's fine with this. Before falling asleep, she looks at the sky once more through the window, with its curtains still pulled back. In this world, there is no moon. So she's not from our world. She has no moon. It's evening. A few more days have passed since then. After going out with her classmates after school, Yomichi's going back home right after the sun is setting. She started going toward a newly opened shop that she was interested in before realizing that it was farther away than she thought and going back. She's exhausted from all the walking. When she gets close enough to her home that she can see the lights coming out of his windows, she sees a girl who looks to be around the same age as her. It's too dark to see her face clearly. Yomichi walks past her, but the girl quickly stops and turns back. Yomichi? Yomichi just stops and turns back to face the girl. Asahi? Now that it's being lit by starlight, Yomichi recognized the face, or rather she recognized the face's owner. The face itself is much more grown up than she remembers and stunningly beautiful. The girl in question is Yomichi's childhood friend, a year younger than her. She used to live nearby, and the two of them met on a daily basis. At the time, she was Yomichi's best friend. However, she had to move away because of her parents' jobs. The two girls were too young to have phones of their own back then, so they lost all contact. Her memory in that regard is a bit fuzzy, but somehow she remembers that this parting was not particularly sad. She was probably too young to understand that maybe the two of them would never meet again, and by the time she was old enough to understand it, she was already used to life without Asahi. The two sit together on a bench in a park nearby, and Yomichi explains her emotions, or lack thereof, at the time. In response, Asahi laughs. Seriously, I was pretty sad, you know? Well, everything around you changed at once. That's true, it really did. I was so nervous moving in this new place that I knew nothing about. New school and all. So, you weren't sad about not being able to see me anymore, huh? I'm sure that was part of it, though. Pretty sure. Yomichi laughs sarcastically. That probably only lasted until you made new friends, right? Can't deny that. Talking with her fills Yomichi with nostalgia. The more clearly the memories of that time resurface, the more Yomichi realizes how much she herself has changed since then. Even if it's only been a few years, she feels like a completely different person. And the same applies to the old friend she's looking at right now. She's not the Asahi she used to know. Why are you here, by the way? Are you moving back? No, I just had some business around here and I thought I'd check things out. Oh, I see. Yomichi realizes how relieved she is at hearing that. This place hasn't changed much, it's still how I remember it. Is it? I guess it is. She almost says it. You have definitely changed though, but she manages not to. She doesn't know what exactly has changed in Asahi. She looks a bit more grown up, her high energy voice has gotten calmer, but that's not all. Now Yomichi doesn't know how she's supposed to talk to her anymore. To hide that fact, she fills in the silence as best as she can. How's the place you live in now? Oh, not so bad. It's a bigger city than this. Oh. Yomichi only says that and even forgets to close her mouth. She has forgotten what she meant to say next. After all this time apart, surely they must have a lot of things to talk about, but not a single one comes to mind. Asahi pulls out her phone and starts typing away on it. She doesn't seem to mind the silence as much as Yomichi does. Yomichi feels like she's talking to someone from another world. What if she disappears? Maybe in a sense she's from another world. Yomichi doesn't know much about this place Asahi lives in now, but it's bound to be different from here. Different people, different trends, different news, different music, different shops. Even the way people speak could be a bit different. In reality, it can't be that different. Yomichi knows it, but the gap between them feels so wide that it's the only way she can explain it. And yet, how could she have such an easy time talking to Madobe, who literally came from another world? She never felt so uncomfortable having a conversation with her. Whatever nonsense Madobe suddenly threw at her, she could reply on a spot, even though their worlds are just that far away. Yomichi still struggles to find the next topic. After a short while, Asahi says it's time for her to go back. Neither of them mentions the possibility of exchanging numbers. Yomichi remains on the bench, thinking by herself. She starts wondering, if she spoke of this to Madobe, what would she say? Is she gonna succumb? Is she gonna succumb, or are we now stuck in the day-to-day world? Yomichi's glad that this world has no moon. If she was actually forced to see it hanging in the sky each night, she wouldn't have been able to stay indoors. Ever since meeting Asahi, she keeps wondering the same things. Why did speaking with Madobe come so easy to her? And what exactly is that world? Where is it? She believes that if that world is indeed somewhere, that somewhere is inside of her. It's a creation of her own mind, in other words, a dream. That wouldn't explain how she could bring back the boxes with the insect replicas inside, but that isn't so important. Maybe she was sleepwalking and had actually bought them herself without realizing. The possibility that this is all there is to it instantly fills her with dread. She cannot come to terms with her desire to talk to Madobe again. If it had all just been a delusion, then she would be longing to speak with herself. It would be hilariously sad. On the other hand, that would explain what she felt when talking with Asahi. If Madobe was just a figment of her imagination, it made sense that Yomichi felt at ease talking to her, since in practice she was having a whole conversation just by herself. Yomichi lies down in her room and looks at the moonless sky outside. She never dreams of Madobe. One afternoon, on a day off from school, Yomichi gets a delivery. It's a small package without a sender's name. It's addressed to her, but she has no idea what it could mean. Since her family isn't home, weird as it is, she has no choice but to accept the delivery herself. She then goes back to her room. Sitting on her bed, she opens the package. It's a box with an insect replica inside. The insect is a butterfly with wide wings. It's exactly the same as the boxes she has received many times during her travels in other worlds. A small wooden box with a glass lid. She is surprised and confused. When she looks at the back of the box, she becomes even more surprised. There's another recipient's address written on there. Madoba. It reads Moon City, Madoba. Holy hell, we have to go back. Her head starts spinning so fast that she has to lie down. It must be a dream, no doubt. She wanted to see Madoba so badly that she had started dreaming of her. After all, her delusions were so strong that she used to end up in a different world each night. A simple dream isn't much by comparison. She is sure of it. Disappointed in herself, she just sleeps. When she wakes up, the box is still there. Is the insect. The butterfly too is still inside of it. Yamichi entertains an idea. Maybe the butterfly is waiting for the box to be delivered to its actual destination before flying out. But isn't it weird? Usually we got to the boxes when we went into the world, and this time we are... Oh, because those were addressed to us. I see. For a while after that, everything felt like a dream, whether she was asleep or awake. When she wakes up, it definitely looks like a normal morning, but then seeing the wooden box on her desk, it goes back to feeling like a dream. Even at school, even when she's chatting with her classmates, she's always thinking of the moon world. It would be as easy as hiding or throwing away the insect replica box, but she can't. I wonder what walking on the moon feels like. Ending up saying that to a classmate was the tipping point. She knew she had to face the box once and for all. It's been a week now from when she received it. This is a box that was delivered to her here in the day world, but for some inexplicable reason, it has Madoba's name on it. Is Madoba's world more than just a delusion? Is it actually real? If so, whoever sent her that box must also be able to travel through worlds, right? However, the delivery didn't have the sender's name on it. There was no label number to look up information with either. Furthermore, when she tried looking up the delivery service that brought it to her, it didn't even show up on the internet. She decided if she ever got another package from them, she would ask directly. But will there ever be another package? Despite her newfound resolve to face the box, it is still shrouded in mystery. Asking a classmate or an adult about other worlds could work, but she definitely doesn't want to do that. They would probably roll her eyes at her, and she also feels that speaking to anyone about this would somehow spoil it. Even if she has decided not to go anywhere anymore, her memories of those worlds are still dear to her. She doesn't want those memories to be made fun of or dismissed as impossible. That day, the friends she usually hanged out with all just so happened to be busy and went home early. She wanted to go home too, but she felt that staying in her room for too long would drive her insane. There's still time before sunset. Yamichi rides on a train. It's been a while since she's last been to this part of town. As she flows with the crowd out of the station, her mind at first is blank, but little by little a thought starts budding in her mind. She remembers what the moon world looks like. There is something that has always confused her. If there is no moon in this world, how does she even know what the moon is? She already knew about it before going to the moon world, a yellowish round celestial body that you can see at night. And even if they don't know about the moon world, her classmates know about the moon too. Maybe they'll learn about it in some picture book, or a textbook, or a novel. But then again, why would people in a moonless world write about a moon? She lets her thoughts flow freely as she moves in the crowd. As she goes with she eventually finds herself in a familiar alley. That's gonna be alley for sure. None of anything blinding headlights. What else? Okay, as she goes to the splashing of the city in the familiar alley. So this is not splashing. She wonders she does, she ever could. Flow. As she goes with the flow of the city. We found it. As she goes with the flow of the city, she eventually finds herself in a familiar alley. The crowd gradually becomes thinner until eventually she is alone. She has gone with the flow so far that now she's stranded by herself in a place she doesn't know. But, on a second thought, she doesn't know this place. She does know it. She has been here once before. In the street where she once saw a girl that looked like Madoba. Remembering that, she wonders if it could possibly be true. She wonders if Madoba could actually live in this world. A lot of things have gone through her head since she received that package, but she finally realizes something. The delivery meant that someone else in this world knew about the moon world, but what if that someone was Madoba? Maybe she only lives here during the day and goes there at night like Yamichi used to. Madoba said that she lived in the moon city. Can that really be trusted? Now Yamichi is alone in the alley. It's the same alley as back then, but it feels different. Maybe because it's a different time of the day. After hesitating for a while, Yomichi starts walking. Assuming that walking around here she could run into that girl again, and assuming that this girl was indeed Madoba, what does Yomichi even want? Does she want to see her again? She believes that it would be better not to, but at the same time she wants to see her again and to talk to her again. In any case, she starts walking. To see Madoba, or to be sure once and for all that Madoba is not here. However this is going to end, she can't leave now. She keeps walking. Right as the sky becomes red before starting to turn dark, Yamichi sees a girl in front of her. The girl she has seen so many times in the moon world is now in front of her in an alley in her own world's afternoon. Hey! Yamichi calls out as she goes after her. Is that really Madoba? That's my biggest question. The first thing to lose their shape are the shadows falling on the street. As their contours blur, so does the whole city. The concrete walls look like they have become a thick, heavy fog. Heavy as it is, fog is just fog. It can't be a building standing. Looking up, Yamichi sees the electricity poles turning into sand and slowly crumbling away. The faintest trace of wind is enough to blow away both the sand and the fog. Isn't it like the first time her actual world is crumbling? The asphalt under her feet starts stirring into waves and eventually flows away. We are on the moon. The city she knows so well from her day world is disappearing, like the other worlds she visited at night. The houses and large buildings which looked so eternal have crumbled away in an instant. Before long, Yamichi has no idea where she is anymore. The whole city has turned into a humongous mixture of sand and fog. And then the cloudy sky goes away, not the clouds, the sky itself goes away. The sunset-tinged canopy flies away. Revealing the vast dark space behind it. The stars are shining over Yomichi's head. She's standing over white sand. It feels like she has just woken up. It's the same as when the night worlds disappeared and she found herself awake in the day world, except this time the opposite has happened. Yomichi is in the desert on the moon, and in front of Yomichi there she is. Madobe, who turned back when Yomichi called out to her, is standing there. The only thing that haven't crumbled away are Yomichi and Madobe. Everything surrounding them has disappeared and then changed into something else. It all happened at the second they locked eyes. It's as if the world was waiting for them to see each other. When she sees Yomichi, Madobe smiles like usual. If it isn't Yomichi. That is what it takes for Yomichi to fully realize that she is in fact in the moon world. More than the sand beneath her feet and more than the vista surrounding her, Madobe's relaxed voice is what gives context to this whole place. It's been a while, huh? Madobe laughs. Yomichi can't help but laugh as well. The two girls are staring at an empty moon around them like they used to. Where were we going? The damp air filling the alley is nowhere to be found. But Yomichi knows that moments before she was in the day world and that Madobe was there with her. Yes, what was I doing? Madobe starts sniffing. The desert around them smells moon-like. Then she smells her own clothes. Oh, I remembered, she says, snapping her fingers. I was going to a coffee shop I like. It's been a while. Remember how I told you they'd change our beans? Well, once you know, they changed them back. Great! Yomichi can't look straight at Madobe's laughing face. And that coffee shop is in the town, in the world you were in earlier. Yup. You were in that world too. Sure was. Yomichi opens her mouth, but she doesn't find anything to say. She doesn't even know how she's managing to stay up on her feet. There must be hundreds of questions that she wants to ask, but she can't come up with a single one. She stays there in silence, staring at the black sky for a while, but there's no point in looking at an empty sky. Looking at it for too long confuses her even further. She starts forgetting where she is, and thinking becomes that much more difficult. But on the other hand, it helps her talk. You can go to other worlds too? She asks in a whisper, so low that anyone farther away than Madobe couldn't have heard her. I can. Since when? Always? Not sure. Since when I was about your age, I guess. So you've been to worlds other than this and the one we were in before? Of course. Do you know about the coffee shop in the tunnel? I don't think I do. What about the floating island? What's that? That sounds cool. Yomichi can't say anymore. Her chest hurts as if an old scar had been ripped open. She has to focus just to keep breathing. She takes her time to think about what Madobe just said. Alright, Madobe says after looking at Yomichi blank stare for a while. I forgot that you're just, that age. Yomichi has no idea what she means. She cocks her head on the side and Madobe looks satisfied with his reaction. So you belong to that city? Belong? You were born in that world, right? Yeah, I think so. That explains a lot. It does. Yomichi can't understand why Manabe is smiling. Manabe knows something and is going to explain it to Yomichi. It's probably something that Yomichi could never expect. She'd be surprised not to be surprised. But then she realizes something. Wait, she thinks maybe that one possibility she'd always consider was actually true. Wait. Yomichi stares at Manabe. Could it be it's not just me, and not just you and me either? Manabe returns the stare, and that's enough to tell Yomichi that what she's thinking is right. Could it be that everyone can go to different worlds? Yomichi asks her questions, holds her breath. The possibility had only crossed her mind unconsciously so far, but it had. I hope that's true. I hope that's not true. She finds herself hoping for both outcomes. Of course. Manabe gives her a slow nod. We, all of us, live in many worlds, not just one. Oh? When you close your eyes because the sun's too bright, when you space out walking in the middle of a crowd, when someone calls out to you all of a sudden. You don't know where you'll go and when, but you'll end up in another world. Manabe looks at the moon city far away. There are many different worlds, with different kinds of people living in them, and of course they can all go to all kinds of worlds. And sometimes they can meet with someone in 2 different worlds, like we did. But that's pretty rare. You're the first one I've ever met in 2 separate worlds. Yomichi's listening to Manabe's words as if in a daze. Really, everyone, like my classmates, my teachers, my mom. Yes, everyone. Well, I guess you're a bit precautious though. Different people start at different ages. How do you know all of this? Who taught it to you? My parents. I was way younger than you are now. You probably don't know because you were born in that world. What do you mean? Do you know about the moon? I do? I don't mean this place we're on now. I mean the one in the sky. Yomichi turns to her imagination and sees the yellowish-white sphere rising once the sun is down. Yeah, I do know about it. But there's no moon in your world, right? Yeah? A long, long time ago, everyone lived on a planet that you could see from the moon from. Manabe starts sounding like she's reading a fairy tale. I think that they built the planet you're from to resemble that old planet. The cities, the way people go about their lives, it's all the same as that old planet. I don't get it, so what? They say that the people on that old planet couldn't go to other worlds, she explained, sounding as if she's trying to recall a distant memory despite having never lived through it. Everyone was in the same world, day and night. I mean, it's just something I heard about, mind you, so I guess that over there speaking about other worlds is taboo. Or a rule, you could say, like the rule that lets you skip in this world. Your world is a nostalgic one, a copy of the world before people could go to other worlds. That's why nobody ever explained anything to you, neither your parents nor your teachers. I mean, even if they don't, you're bound to find out once you start doing it, but the people in your world just keep up their pretense. But what about you? You weren't born in that world? Me? No, I was born in that city over there. I couldn't go to your world before becoming an adult. But then, what about my friends at school? They don't know about this? That depends. Probably some do and some don't. Like, some kids fall in love for the first time earlier than others. But why didn't anybody tell me this? I can't say for sure since I'm not from that world. Manabe puts her hands on her hips and starts thinking. She also notes about Yomichi's day world. She's never been inside a school, but she has run into children about Yomichi's age several times. Think of it like this. You felt like you couldn't talk about it to anyone, right? So nobody heard about it from you either. Oh, I didn't tell anybody about it, yes. Yomichi feels like she's listening to a weird fairy tale. She understands, but she's having a hard time believing any of it. To Yomichi, hers wasn't a nostalgic reenactment of life in the good old days when the sky still had moon in it. Her life was a normal thing, the only possible thing. I feel like I'm in another world. Because you are? I know, that's not what I mean. All kinds of thoughts are floating around in Yomichi's head. She can predict what she'll say, but among all those thoughts, one keeps raising its head over and over. So everyone can go to other worlds. Yes? My parents, my teachers, my friends too. Everyone. So that means... She finally finds the words to say what she was thinking. So I don't need to live there forever? Madabe replies with a quick note, yeah, unless you want to. Yomichi feels something on her face. They're slow, calm tears. They feel like somebody else's, they're warm. She feels relieved and anxious at the same time. Happy and sad, she clenches the sleeves of her shirt. As her vision blurs behind her tears, she thinks back to the many worlds she's visited so far. Yomichi doesn't know whether Madabe saw her tears. She speaks like a parent talking to a child who can't understand a very simple concept. Nobody lives in just one world, except for when they're really young. People live in many worlds. They live in them? Yes, they do. So, you live in that world and sometimes you go visit other ones? Not quite. Sometimes I'm there, yes, but I live in a whole bunch of worlds. I was born here, but that's it. It's not like I have to come back to sleep here every single night. It's just another world for me. I see. For you, your world is the one you've spent the most time in. But that's just because you're so young. Eventually you'll have spent so much time in so many places you'll feel attached to all of them at the same amount. I wonder if it's the same for Mom and Dad. I'm sure it is. You don't know where they are while you're at school, do you? I don't. Sometimes they're with you, sometimes they're not. That's true of all people. Your friends, teachers, neighbors, there are times you don't know where they are. And there are times when you don't know where I am either, right? Right? Yomichi imagines that someone must have said those very same words to Madabe before. She still can't grasp this quite yet. To her, her world is the real one, and the other ones are just delusions that she stumbles into. Delusions eventually disappear, leaving nothing behind, but then again she saw the day world to disappear as well. I thought that my world, the world where I was born, was the only real one. I know, I used to think the same thing, but that's not true. It's not. It's the world in which you are born, that's all. So I have to live in a bunch of different worlds? It's not that you have to, it just kind of happens since you can't choose what world you go to. Is it possible that I never managed to go back to the world I was born in again? I've heard of people like that, it depends on you. If you don't need to go there, you won't be able to. Even though I'm not the one choosing where I go? Yes, you didn't choose to come here, but you wanted to see me, right? It's not like I wanted to come here just to see you. So you like the place, the empty desert? I do. So that's why you came. Madabe says that Yomichi can do what she wants. She's not being kind, nor is she being cold. It's the truth. Yomichi is free to do what she wants. She can live in many different worlds. That sounds wonderful, but Yomichi can't just feel happy about it. There's a huge but lingering in her mind. But is that okay? Yomichi managed just to put her thoughts into worlds. Can I really live here and there in all those worlds? Can we really live if we are not all in the same world? Madabe looks into Yomichi's eyes. If we all live like that, then even if we're together, maybe the other person will go to another world right after that. Maybe they live in a completely different way, and they think completely different things. But saying it out loud, Yomichi's trying to come to terms with what she's thinking. To her, having just one world to live in is normal. People can live together because that is normal for everyone. They can help each other and try to improve their world. I don't know how to put this, but shouldn't they all live together and help each other out? As she says this with a sniff, Yamichi has to put in a lot of effort not to break into tears again. She breathes in as slowly as she can. She doesn't want Madoba to see her crying. That would be embarrassing. Madoba quietly waits for her to breathe out. I see, you have a point, she said with a nod after waiting for Yamichi to stop talking. Why are there so many worlds? Why do we have to live going from one another? I don't know. I wish we could ask the gods or our ancestors or something, she adds with a shrug. But you see, she continues with a warm smile, wouldn't it be hard to all live in the same world? I'm not sure. That doesn't make a lot of sense to her. After all, that's what she has always assumed was true. Everyone has to live in the same place according to the same rules. Not much freedom, is there? Not that I think it's bad necessarily. But we couldn't do it, so we started living all spread out over many worlds, probably. We who? Humanity? This got really big really quickly. Did it? Well, I guess it is big, Madoba says, scratching her head. Let's make it smaller then, just about you, she says with a teasing laugh. Rather than only having one world, aren't you happier being able to come here and see me? Yamichi thinks about it for a while and then starts laughing. Indeed, that makes it all feel smaller, insignificant, nothing worth worrying about. She looks up and wipes away her tears. Her damp face feels slightly cold. I guess I am. Of course it's not insignificant. She still doesn't quite understand what living through many worlds mean. She's not ready to think about whether it's a good thing or not. But she knows how hard it is to be forced to live in a single world. She hates to admit it, but she was often relieved when she reached other worlds. Maybe it's fine not to feel at home in the day world. Maybe it's fine to treasure your time in other worlds. She looks at the countless lights far away. She has never been there, but she knows it's a city full of people. They live there, but not just there. There is no a single real world, Yamichi says mostly to herself. Everyone has a lot of worlds they live in. Everyone has a lot of places they call home. Saying it helps her accept that reality. It will take a while longer until she can fully come to terms with it. She still can't believe that her parents and friends travel through worlds the same way she does. But at the same time, she realizes that it must be true. People are not strong enough or kind enough to all share a single world. They go from place to place, from connection to connection, living their lives. For a moment, she decided to stop worrying about other people and of a scarily large concept such as humanity. For now, she'll think about herself. Can I come here again? Of course. Madoba walks up to Yamichi and stands by her side. They walk together like they used to do once. Like they will always do when Yamichi comes back here time and again. Yamichi is excited about the future. The moon desert around her shows no signs of ending. So, at the very beginning, I thought that it's mostly about growing up and her actually having like this extension of like childhood friends concept, right? But now that I think about it, it's different. It's exactly what Madoba said. Everyone is living their life, and when you go, for example, to school, that is kind of a different world. When you go to work, that's also kind of a different world. It has different energy. There's different people that bring their own lives into it there, right? So that's like a huge concept of it. Also, that animation is pretty nice. I like it. So maybe they're not actually like... This is also a huge metaphor, right? So it's not only like walking between different fantasy worlds. It's just a depiction of the fact that we move between different... it's so difficult to talk about it. Every part of our life is actually a different world. We have like our home world, we have our school world, we have our work world, and this is all a metaphor of that. And all of them have their own sets of rules, right? And some people might be happy with their own little bubble. So yeah, I think that was a nice concept. I didn't like the main character too much, but I agree with Madoba that she was a budding lady and she had a lot of questions and she was very, very, very confused. So that's why some parts of the game seemed to be a little bit prolonged, because she was going over one concept 10 times trying to tackle it. But overall it was very, very nice. It was pretty slow but nice. And I guess this is the ending sequence, given that we are shown different people that we met in a different world. But I am surprised, we had so many times like a possibility to talk with Madoba and she didn't mention to us that she can also travel. I mean, maybe she thought that it's like not worth it to, right? But we were telling her about our world and that we're not from here, right? But yeah, overall a nice title, but it would definitely benefit from a little bit of a speed up. A tiny tweaks to the story, like to the plot, would make it better. I'm also curious what other endings are, but first of all, we didn't really make that many choices, so I'll look into that and maybe do a small follow-up on that one. But when it comes to the Moonless Moon, that's it for today, and thank you for tuning in. I hope the story actually brought you something to think about. Bye bye. Oh, there's a post-epilogue, so it's not a bye-bye yet. In the city at night, Yamichi finds herself thinking about She's walking through the city at night. It's been a while now. When she closes her eyes, the noise grows distant and a flurry of thoughts with her mind. The desert and the moon, coffee... Oh. 100% sure this one. Oh, so I guess maybe the different endings are us going through like different, like that would make it 3 endings. We would have Hoshi ending and Ita ending too. So why did I get here the second we locked eyes? That's probably because the 3 of us always meet here. Madoba explains while squashing the sand with her foot. The sand of the moon desert makes a small noise when you step on it. Since there is nothing else in the way, the sound keeps explaining and expanding, and sometimes a series of footsteps turns into a melody. Is that it? I think it is. We meet here is the one place we share, so when we find each other somewhere else, we immediately get here. And you know, there are a bunch of people who will never meet because they don't share space. You can go through every single world in a single lifetime. I see. Yamichi thinks of the people who she will never meet because they will never happen to be in the same world. In a way, it's not so different from living in a big city. Even if you go out every day, there are people you will never run into. There are a lot of those people, but feeble as the connection may be, these people are still connected to Yamichi in some way. They could be a friend's friend, or friend's friend's friend. Yamichi and Madoba keep chatting as they walk together. Wait, was that just like, when they've talked as much as they could, walked as much as they could, and have run out of topics, boom, back into the normal world. Going through the scrambled crossing, she walks past several people. She could never start a conversation with any of them, but she knows she shares one thing with them, this world. At the same time, she knows that this is not all there is. There are places far beyond the city and worlds far beyond this one. All of those people travel to different worlds just like her. After blinking, it looks like some of them have disappeared. She wonders if they have just gone inside of a building or behind a corner. Maybe they have, but maybe they have gone to another world. Of course, Yamichi has many places that she could be to. The moon, the tunnel, the floating island, and all other worlds she has visited so far. All the worlds she lives in. Maybe eventually she will stop coming here to sleep at night. Once she starts living by herself, she could have move to the moon. She kind of likes this idea. On the other hand, that means that not everyone is living in the same world and that there are many people that she will never be able to meet. Somehow that may feel slightly lonely. However, she thinks that this is simply how people live. You step aside not to run into people and you look down not to lock eyes. Everyone lives in their own so that everybody can be themselves. We are not forced to live in the same world. This is not the real world. There is no such a thing. There are many worlds and people live in many of them. The city is full of life and lights and so much that it almost makes Yamichi dizzy. She decided not to fight the flow of the crowd and instead see where it will bring her. She likes being alone among all those people, just as much as being in the moon desert. She keeps walking through the city at night, alone. First ending, City by Night. Okay, so after we got that post-epilogue, I actually have a bit more to say. Because for me, that was a little bit unneeded. We already had that conversation about many more like 4 times and it would be really hard not to follow that idea. But okay, let them have it. So the only thing that I have against the video game is that it actually had too many repetitions just to prove the point. That was kinda meh. That was kinda meh. But I liked the story. I liked the story and I liked the characters. I just didn't like the tempo of it and repetitions. But yeah, now we have no more post-epilogues, so for sure it's a bye-bye. Thank you for hanging out, and you can check out the game and you can see if you will have your own endings. It's available on Steam. Bye-bye.